Okay.
Okay, we're back from executive session, no action taken. Next up is finance.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tony Robinson, Finance Director. I have a couple of financial reports to go through with you. This is for the month of April. So this composition of cash balances and investments comes from the CIC program on the cash side of it. So you can see our total cash at the end of April was $39,619,793.37. So we balance with the treasurer's duplicate statement. Again, you can see on the bottom, the $39,619,793.37. And then this last report is on the financial side. So again, if you go to the last page, what you want to see is that same $39,619,793.37. So that's just for your information to show that the cash balance is for the month of April. Any questions on that? Okay. The next one is your monthly reports on expenditures and revenues. So this is the expenditure. We're at 33.33% into the year at the end of April. The ones in blue are the ones that have exceeded that 33.33%. So you can see the general fund is a little bit over. We've talked about that. Our transfers go out at the beginning of the year. We have insurance, workman's comp, and we also disposed another $1,250,000, $1 million going to CIP, and $250,000 into the facility fund to help replenish for some of those maintenance costs that we were seeing over from the jail. The library has exceeded, and that's based on the timing of the distributions, as is the economic development. And then this next page, you can see the fire district is just over that. It's not a worrisome number. It's really pretty much in line, you can see just a little bit over. So any questions on the expenditure side?
No?
Okay, so this is your general fund by department. This tells you the individual departments that are over that 33.33% mark. We have the district court. Keep in mind with the district court, they have a lot of reimbursement money that comes back in from other counties. And so that 3721 is not a worrisome number as well. The general service appropriation and transfers, again, that's high because of the timing of the funding that goes out, both with the appropriations and then the transfers as we talked with the additional money. GIS planning, theirs is largely due to their pictometry that they pay out at the beginning of the year, and as we move through, you'll see that regulate. And the appraiser's just a little bit high, again, not a worrisome number. I would expect that that is largely due to the mailings that they sent out, and so that's a relatively large number within their budget. Are there any questions on any of the expenditures in the general fund?
When we had to redo the tax statements, where does that money come from? The monies that we've had to, because I want to know how much that is, how much that cost us.
We actually are paying for that through the general service. The clerk's office didn't have it in their budget and they asked me about it, and I said that the general services could absorb those postage costs. They did pay for the training out of their tech fund, but the postage we did pull through the general service budget. Any other
Are you
questions?
asking what the cost was though? What was the actual cost?
Teresa, did you know what that was?
I don't know. I just was curious where it came out of.
I know we put 5,000 on the machine.
Yeah, the biggest cost was the postage. We had to get $500 worth of envelopes, but she paid for that out of the clerk's budget. And then we didn't pay any overtime because we flexed that.
But then we're also gonna have to eat that, any property that got sold, we have to eat that.
Yeah, I don't know a number for that.
Yeah.
I suppose you get that from Sherry.
The treasurer had to give us those numbers.
Well, I'm sure we won't know until after everything.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
I still have not gotten a bill, and neither has Willie.
Do you have a mortgage company?
I have one, he doesn't. Neither one of us have gotten it,
Okay,
so.
I'll have Tom look at
I
it.
mean, that's concerning, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That people are gonna get late fees now if they don't get that bill, because I mean, I know it's been all over Facebook and, you know, but that doesn't mean people know about it, you know?
Well, it doesn't guarantee the mail.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
No, I think it's a mail thing for sure.
Okay, so this is the revenue budget activity, and this is for your information to see where we are compared to what we budgeted. Are there any questions on any of those? Okay, I have one more little fun report that I wanted to share with you. This is not for any decisions, nothing like that. You don't have to study it to answer any questions. This is just, we went to our budget seminar last week, and they had a graph that I thought was, they had a graph that I thought was kind of interesting, and so I was thinking to myself while we were there, I was gonna come home and put it on paper just to, as we're moving into budget season, I thought it would be some interesting information for you. So the top row, 22 through 2025, is based on if we kept the mill constant from the 22 budget. And the reason I chose 22 budget is because we redid our budget. We restructured it in 23. So I just wanted to be able to show you from 22 through 25 how it would have played out had we kept the mill rate flat. And the mill rate being kept flat is a discussion that a lot of people will say, well, we kept our mill rate flat. So then people wrongly assume that there's no increase to tax. And this depicts that in a perfect way to illustrate how that plays out. So the top row shows you if our mill rate was 70.416, which is what it was in 2022, and if we kept that constant through 2025. The valuation is what the true valuation was with the November numbers, as is the value of 1 mil. So that tax levy line that's not in green would be what we would have levied had we kept our mill rate flat. So for instance, in 2023, if we'd have kept that 70.416 mill rate, we would have been levying 19,255,288. But what we actually levied in 23 was 16,436,834. So when you compare to 22 to 23, which is what we did when we were looking at this, and we said we saved 1.1 million from the previous year, which is a completely true statement. But if you look at had we kept the mill rate flat, not only did we save the money from the 22, but we also saved that difference in our levy from 19.2 million to the 16.4 million. So about $3 million was saved by not keeping our mill rate flat. Likewise, in 24, 4 million was saved by not keeping our mill levy flat. And in 2025, 5 million was saved by not keeping our mill levy flat. So that paints a pretty clear picture what happens when you keep the mill rate flat and your valuation increases.
Yeah, that is very eye-opening, because I know I've talked, you know, I have that chart that, you know, shows the school district and the city have kept their mill levy flat. If we'd have done that, our taxes would be $5 million more than what they are now. So
And then the other thing, your tax levy dollars. So, you know, really, when you're talking about what you're levying, that's what the R&R is for, is that your levies remain flat. So if we do that in this illustration, 22 to 25, and we kept our tax levies flat from 17.5 million across the board, again, your valuation is your actual, and the value of 1 mil is the actual based on the November rates. Then the mill rates, you can see we would have went still from 70.416 to 64.168, 59.852, and 57.830 had we kept our dollars flat. That's what would have been the effect on the levy. So when you compare to what we did with our actual mill rates, again, you can see in '23, we could have levied up to that 64.168 and kept our dollars flat, but we went to 60.109. '24, we could have levied the 59.8, we went to 56.7. And in '25, we could have done 57.8 and we were 54.8. So in 2025, we were 3 mils lower than what we had the authority to do based on the R&R. So again, good illustration to see that. I know people never think that the taxes are as low as they should be, but this is a good illustration that we, the entire county, not just finance, but the department heads, the commissioners, all of us, and working together are trying hard to pull those tax dollars down so people aren't paying as much.
I know other commissioners, when I tell them we've lowered our mill levy 15 mils and that we are truly paying less ad valorem taxes than we were in 2017, don't believe me, I have to pull out the chart to show them.
Well, and I did put a statement on the bottom because this is really important because people have a tendency to say, but my taxes went up. And that may be true individually. We don't have complete control over that because of what the market does and the appraisal comes out as. But as a collective whole, which means an average of everyone's taxes, this is what you see happening. So individually, we would have to look at it separately for people, but as a whole, this is what we've been able to do.
Is that something we could, maybe it's too confusing. I mean, it shouldn't be. But is that something we can put in a brochure? Or is that
I think
overkill?
it might be confusing and then they'll be like, well, it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, unless somebody's explaining it, because when I first
know.
looked at it, I was like, oh, I didn't understand it.
And that's the thing. I think it's a great one and I can look at it, but not everyone
Right.
has a background knowledge in accounting that
Well,
it makes
and
sense.
you're explaining it to us, but yeah, I guess as a layperson,
It would be very confusing, yeah, it would be.
And I do have a talk that I'm giving at the end of the month, and I am going to take this and go through the chart with them because I think it's good information for people to see and for them to pass on to other people for sure. But I kind of hate to put it out there and then have people confused on what they're looking at. So I'm more than happy to share it with anybody who wants to come in and look at it and go through the information. But I don't want to create confusion or chaos
no, I.
by not explaining.
It's-
But it is good to know.
Yeah, and it's just one more tool for education purposes.
And to justify a finance department.
Yeah. So Courtney and I went to the budget workshop last week and we asked them some good questions, a couple things they couldn't answer and they got to get back to us on. But I walked away from it and I felt like we had some good discussions. There's a gentleman that works for an accounting firm and he actually presents all the KMAG topics. And his name is Scott Lloyd and he's a great individual. I've worked with him when I was in private accounting doing taxes and audits. And he was there and so I had a good conversation with him as well. And so, it's good to see that someone who's as seasoned as he is still comes to those things and feels like it's important to be there and interact and have those conversations. So it was good. Jamel was there as well from the city. And so we had a conversation with him and
Good.
so it was good.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I have this morning.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate that information.
Do you need this screen? I hope not.
I was gonna leave it if you did. It's all yours.
Yeah.
I don't know if you was ready for me yet or not.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Rhonda with Community Corrections, filling in for Chris Sand. She's out of state this week. But we are here to ask permission or request approval to trade in 2 of our vehicles. I believe in the package she gave you all the information. She got 3 referrals or requests. It was through Jim Clark for a Chevy Trailblazer, Home Automotive in Abilene for a Malibu, and Valor was a Ford Escape. We would like to go through and get the Trailblazer from trade in our Fusion to Jim Clark for the Chevy Trailblazer, and we'll be trading in a Malibu, a 2018 Chevy Malibu through Homes for another Chevy Malibu. I don't know what all she put in your packet, so if you have questions for me.
No, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Do you want to do it separate, since I can't vote on the Jim Clark one?
Oh, okay,
So
yeah,
Kathy, you're
that'd be smart.
You're buying the 2 vehicles or just?
Yes, ma'am, we're
Three
trading
vehicles.
2 vehicles.
Okay.
Two
And we
vehicles
do
from two
wait
different
towards
dealers.
the end of our fiscal year, Ms. Tremont, just because that's how, knowing that we still have money left for the last 3 months. Our fiscal year starts July 1 through the state. And so Chris Ann usually will wait towards the end of our fiscal year to make any kind of purchases, just to make sure that we still have plenty. And looking at our average monthly expenses for the last 3 months, we still have money in each of the budgets, on the juvenile side and on the adult side.
And they put a lot of miles on those cars because they go to Marion. And
We have a car in all 4 counties, just because with juvenile intake is a 24/7 operation. And then when we travel to the different counties for to meet with clients, go to court, trainings, anything like that, we take our county vehicles, so we don't have to pay out mileage to anybody.
So you're wanting to go with the Trailblazer from Jim Clark and the Malibu from Home, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what we need to do is, let's start this way. I'd entertain a motion for Home Automotive to start.
so moved on that one.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the recommendation for the Malibu from Home. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Now, with Trish abstaining from this, I need a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to go forward with the purchase for the 2025 Chevy Trailblazer from Jim Clark.
And I will second that. So, in favor? Aye. Motion carried with 1 abstention.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And hey, I know you're not here as your official role as a city commissioner, but I think you do a great job of you are at every event, and you,
Oh, well, thank you. I try, and I don't make it to everything, but I do try our best to get there.
Hard to make it there.
it is hard to make it to everything, I know.
Yes, there's not enough time in our calendars to do all
Well, I
that.
appreciate your work on
Yeah,
that.
see you tonight.
Well, before Jeremy gets here, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
me too.
go down the hall. And you're excused too, if you want to go.
Oh, really? I took care of things during executive session.
Okay.
Sorry. Hello.
Morning.
Morning.
Is that one put even a different
Jeremy, did you understand, or was that somewhere where, oh, maybe it wasn't the minutes that I'd read that about asking you to do, give information about some of the rural, so about the rural roads.
I didn't even hear you talking, I'm so sorry.
Get that about that,
Yes.
yeah, that, I just, whenever, don't worry about anything real extensive, I just thought that might be something
Yeah.
that, could be.
No, I think, we kind of discussed it as well, and I may not, just once a month, I'll give a good update on that side of things. Because I know we really do get a lot more into facilities and that sort of thing, that public works kind of gets overshadowed a little bit, but that, and then also, Trish had mentioned before, and we've done a little bit of it, but quarterly, we'll start firing up a quarterly report with pictures and stuff, to do a little presentation of all the things
Okay, good,
that
yeah,
the
yeah.
department has accomplished, and
I don't know, like I said, about the stuff that you put on roads and anything, and I'm not on rural roads necessarily a lot,
yeah,
but I know it seems like I send you a question it seems like whenever I'm out, I get a question about it.
right.
But, I just think
And we
that,
know moving forward, there's a lot of goals and things that we need to identify as far as major improvements to the roadway network, because they just have never been looked at in the past from that standpoint, I guess. And something we'll have to get in place.
Your, tax statement went to your mortgage company, CoreLogic,
Okay.
and Willie's still has a mortgage listed on the statement, but you said he's not supposed to have one? Have to get a hold of the treasurer's office about that,
So
'cause
should he just call and say, hey, I know I probably
Yeah.
owe something? Okay, I'll tell him.
just, that would be best.
Okay.
I've got no sticker.
Oh, good grief.
I was at the
Have you
museum.
ever heard of wearing gloves?
I did. I was getting into some rose bushes.
Oh,
So anyway, I did not hear her talking, she talks so low.
Oh, I know, right?
But, so, and it's something that I just want to sit down and explain it to you, because it's kind of confusing. I was gonna try to write it out, but I figured just sitting and talking to you guys, but, basically it's a thing, to do like a feature of our county,
Okay.
and so I'm gonna need some help on that, so.
For sure.
But yeah, do you guys, any time on Thursday afternoon, or?
I do, yeah, I didn't get replied back to you just yet, but my calendar was pretty open.
Yeah, I think so, like 2:00, does that work on Thursday? Okay.
Get penciled in for somebody else to.
Yeah, right? Something more important than me.
It's full quick some days.
Yeah.
You're ready.
Good morning.
oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
A little lengthy today.
Good morning, Commission. Jeremy Myers, Public Works Administrator.
Caitlin Ross, Administrative Services Manager.
First thing on the list today would be a action item, requested petition from Caroline and Sons for boring underneath Quarry Road for a water line. You should have received that. It is a standard bore. Looked at the location, won't pose any maintenance concerns for us. The majority of that water line is buried on private property. So I request commission approval for Caroline and Sons to install that.
So much.
Who moved?
I'll second.
Then moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Okay, motion carried.
Oh, and the,
Oh. What?
the dates.
Oh.
Trying to get, no, that's fine. I don't know if I'm supposed to write it in, so I'll make sure you do.
PM contracts. Next on the list is the TCA preventative maintenance contracts. They do expire into this month. This would be for June 1st, 2025 through May 31st of 2026. We did send those to you as well. You had a chance to review those. There was some changes. The courthouse did remain the same cost. And Public Works, which encompasses all the other buildings, did remain the same as well. Cloud Community College did see an increase of $1,068. I spoke with Adam, TCA, and the other individual, I just can't remember his name at this point, I'm sorry. The increase to the Cloud County Community College was because Building D, according to them, they had never really accounted for. It's kind of a mistake on their part. And so they have lost money on that contract over the past few years because they didn't quite have their things figured right. But that would be the increase there for that Building D. The Sheriff's Office, there are some additional items to that that are not currently on the PM contract. One of those would be that 303 Monroe Street. And you can see that was an additional $920. 218 9th Street, $545. That's the warehouse over there for the sheriffs. And then that Milford Lake substation of $690 for putting that on the PM contract. Those are not currently on the PM contract. Adam thought it would be a good idea to put them on. I know the Monroe one here, last year, we just put a new HVAC system in that you all had approved. So some sort of preventative maintenance on those systems would be a benefit to Geary County.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
So with that, you do see that cost increase of $2,666 for that one. Looking through these, I don't see anything out of order. I think it is very important that we stick with preventative maintenance contracts on this HVAC system. TCA has done a very good and thorough job of keeping these systems going for Geary County.
I'll make a motion to approve the contracts presented. Second.
and then seconded to approve the TCA public, or no, what is it called?
Preventative maintenance.
Preventative maintenance, thank you, contracts for June 1 of this year through May 31st of 26. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Next item would be sheriff's HVAC unit replacement. One of the two HVAC units that support the administrative office area of the SO needs to be replaced. This unit is original to the remodel, and due to the age, replacement is warranted rather than to keep throwing extensive repairs at it. It is currently down. They are running off of one unit. Luckily enough, the weather's been somewhat tolerable to keep it in the 70s. It hadn't reached the 80s in there yet. So, but cost on that is $9,833. I did speak with Tammy regarding facility funds for that. She agreed that would be the best place to pull from.
How soon can they get on that?
They can get on it right away.
Okay.
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the HVAC. All in favor, say aye.
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 Did I misspeak that number? That was $9,883.
Yeah.
Just to make it. I thought it was too, but Karen.
33 or 83, make sure.
Next is RAM pest control proposal for the office building here. I did get a call from HR that they thought they had observed termites in the window in the HR office. So we did have RAM come out, and they did confirm that there was some termites in that area. We got a proposal to spot treat and install bait stations around the entire building. We do have some other facilities that we do that with, the courthouse and those sorts of things. This one had just never gotten to that point. RAM's cost for the bait station and the spot treat was $2,640. And there would be a $385 yearly maintenance fee once installed. That is pretty much in line with the other buildings. So I'd ask commission to approve RAM's proposal, and that would be facilities fund as well.
I'll make that motion to accept that proposal for RAM pest control.
Second.
Then moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 And when we redo those pest control contracts, we'll get that added on as part of the contract. Next, we got Skiddy Road culvert replacement. There are two corrugated metal pipe culverts needing to be replaced due to their condition and age. They are rusted and allowing the road to settle in places. Teresa is aware of one of them there by Hoff Road, so try to smooth up the ride for her a little bit.
Well, if you wouldn't drive over it every day.
So one of those is located at Skiddy Road and East Lyons Creek intersection, and the other one is just north of Hoff Road and on Skiddy Road. I'm proposing to replace those with reinforced concrete pipe and end sections, as longevity will exceed the corrugated metal pipes that are currently in place. Cost for those is $7,035 from Old Castle, Topeka, Kansas. And I did get another proposal from McPherson Concrete, and that was $9,254.12. So Old Castle is the cheapest. These are two separate projects. However, I'd like to combine this purchase due to shipping costs. I can get one load for $600. If I order it two separate occasions, then I've got two $600 deliveries on that. So I just like to combine them. So with that, I'd ask commission waive the purchasing policy and approved for me to purchase these culverts through Old Castle in Topeka, Kansas.
So moved.
I'll second.
And those will come out of road and bridge culvert line for that purchase.
Then moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next is Munson Road, Rucker Road, and K-18 Highway intersection. KDOT and Commissioner Giordano have reached out to me on separate occasions regarding my knowledge of safety concerns with this intersection. It has been said that there has been several near misses with the high school traffic, and the sheriff's office reported that between the years of 2023 and 2025, they have responded to 6 accidents at this intersection. I guess just wanted to fill commission out. I can fill out an application for a TEEP study or a traffic engineering assistance program application through KDOT to look at this intersection.
How
I
many
think
accidents did you say?
What is that?
What was the time frame of the accidents?
between 2023 and 2025, there were 6 accidents at this intersection.
There was one real recent, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. What's what's it stand for? Traffic what?
Yes, it's Traffic Engineering Assistance Program. Corey had done some of these in the past, if you recall, when there was a speed limit lowered on Old 40. That was part of a TEEP study. There was some out, I believe, on Milford Lake Road.
I've received several. Well, the one who just reached out, it was one of the school board members reached out, but I've had several parents worried about that intersection as well. And I think it definitely, you know, with the increased traffic with the high school out there, I definitely think that it is something we need to do.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and I think it's a good idea to get KDOT involved in this, as they have a lot of right of way at that intersection.
Yeah.
So just not sure how much more Geary County could do on our side of things
Yes.
to improve that intersection, but, you know, looking at this through KDOT, they may be able to identify some things as well.
Could, I mean, actually, those kind of stats for our safe streets for all would
Yep, and they'll be
assist
looking
in
at that
that
as
too,
well.
right?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Okay,
For
good.
sure.
Well, I'm gonna, do we need a motion for that to implement that?
I don't believe so. I think it's
Okay.
just as far as, you know, if that's the direction commission would like to go, I'll get on the website, fill out an application and see what they say.
What do you think, Kathy?
I think it's a great idea. I too think with the traffic, with the kids and stuff traveling those, I think I've always thought it was.
We need it to be a safe
Yeah,
intersection
yes.
for sure.
Can you bring that up at your next TAC meeting?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next would be emergency management exterior painting bids. After reviewing the bids received, we do find Riley Construction to be the lowest and best bid received. This project was approved through CIP for a total amount of $15,000. And because Riley Construction's bid is $16,342, we would need to have an approval of a CIP amendment in the amount of $1,342 to have enough funds for this project. So I would recommend commission approval of the amendment and award the project to Riley Construction. That amendment will be brought to you by Tammy next week. We have filled it out and turned it into her, but there would need to be that additional $1,342 added to that CIP for that.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, then moved and seconded to amend the CIP. All in favor, say aye.
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 I guess with that, is there still thought in the future of doing some kind of mural on this west wall over here? I don't know, that kind of drifted away, and I don't know, you know, what anybody's thoughts are on that.
I
moving
think it would
forward.
be good, and there's actually grants out there
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
murals, so I'd like to look into
I
it.
know.
Okay, well, we'll keep our eye open when they have some grant opportunities again for it to
Okay.
surely.
I think maybe it's just me, but the issue would be, what do you want on the mural?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have to definitely be a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
Between everybody to
Right.
figure out what we want to do there. So. All right, next Pinnell Concrete Replacement bid update. I am still working to get costs on the items that the contractor had in his bid that he would like the county to supply. These items included the ADA grading and the aluminum handrail to replace the rusted metal handrail currently in place. I was able to get a cost on the grading, and that was $792.38, but I'm still waiting to meet with the contractor on the aluminum handrail portion of that. I did speak with that contractor, which was the only one that turned in a bid, and his start date, end date is flexible. So I think he had a start date of last Monday, but he can work with it. So as soon as I get that, I'll be back to request an approval on that one. GIS zoning camera and electric door entry update. The commission had asked that I look into that. We did receive a quote for a camera and electronic door entry for GIS in the sanitary office. Total cost for equipment and installation was $7,894.08. And that did come with a monthly service fee of $185, and that would be for a 60-month term. I guess with that, I think I can get some more quotes, might be a little bit more competitive, but I think getting that dollar amount way down is not gonna happen. It's gonna.
Is this with ADS?
Next Tech was the one that got this quote for us. I guess based off of that information, if commission would like to still pursue, I can reach out for some more quotes, or I guess what are your guys' thoughts?
How much less are you talking though? I mean, is it worth your time?
I mean, if I was to throw a guess out there, maybe trim it down by 2,000, my guess is it's gonna stay above that $5,000 mark.
How many quotes did you have?
I just received the one to kind of get an idea of cost before we really jumped too deep into the weeds. on this one.
I would say go ahead and look for some more.
Okay.
That's
Not a problem.
No, you might as well. I mean, it never hurts to
And
check.
Yeah.
We want to be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
I just tend not to like to waste a lot of people's time
Right.
putting together proposals if it's something that we feel, oh, well, that's just a little bit too
Well,
much more
I
than we
wouldn't-
want to pursue.
I wouldn't work on it too hard, but
Right. Yep, nope, we'll reach out for some more certainly. Next, Kansas Falls inspection. We did meet with FEMA for mitigation on the Kansas Falls road site that is currently closed due to that June flooding event last year. They're gonna be working some numbers back through mitigation to see what's the best direction to go. While we're on site, we did discuss possibilities of a low water crossing there. And I did reach out to Chad with Call Valley, and he did say there are fewer and fewer low water crossings in Kansas because of the environmental folks don't like that they tend to block aquatic organisms passing along the creek. So as a way to detour that, they've just made the restrictions or requirements merely impossible to do what we would consider to be a traditional low water crossing. Due to the span of that location, what would be required, we could go back with some tubes and some different things there, but Chad was saying that the final project, due to length of it, would then put that site on our bridge inspection inventory. So we'd have a reoccurring cost in the future there. So we'll work some numbers. We'll continue to gather some information to see exactly what is best going to fit there. And then I think at that point, we'll have to make a decision whether to go forth with it or possibly just close that portion of road.
so am I hearing you right that there could be FEMA funds?
Yes, mitigation through FEMA will help replace that. And don't quote me on this. I asked Kaylin and we kind of didn't remember exactly, but we're going to check for clarification, but I believe FEMA said that through mitigation, they would cover 100% up to $200,000 to fix that location and do that. I didn't realize it, but in talking to Chad a little bit more, and he did some study on that location, but there's 6 miles of drainage there that starts and comes down through there. So
That's a lot.
there's a lot of water that boils through there. It doesn't constantly run, but when we get heavy rains, it really picks up a lot of runoff. So, but we'll keep you updated on that as well. Public Works project and update. I did,
Kathy, this is, sorry, but I asked Jeremy, because you'd said you wanted some information about Public Works and what they're doing and whatever, so.
Yeah.
About the road.
Jeremy and
Yep.
Caitlin did this.
and we spoke a little bit before all commissioners were in here about, I will give this update once a month, and then we will go for our quarterly presentation to commission with some pictures and stuff like that we can put up on the monitors so you guys can see exactly what the projects look like that we're accomplishing, as well as equipment that you've approved to purchase and things like that. So, Public Works crews cut down 2 hazardous trees on Whiskey Lake Road. I don't know if any of you are familiar with there, but there were some really big oak trees right on the edge of the road that even when I was in that section, I would blade around it and it was just a hazard. So we did finally get those down. They did complete the crack sealing on Humboldt and Asher Road in anticipation of the 2025 chip sealing. 2,000 of the 3,000 tons of chips for the chip sealing have been hauled. They're working this week to finish up hauling the other 1,000 tons that are needed for that project. They did install a culvert on Old 40 for a new residence going to be built out there. 2 reserved parking signs were added at the annex building for GIS and the sanitarium. They run into a lot of issues up there when they have court, that parking gets very limited and sometimes they don't have a place to park. So that is a city parking lot. I did speak with Ray Ibero with the city, and he had no issue with us putting those there as long as we maintained them. So we did put them there. We'll maintain them. United Way and Soil Conservation, they have now requested 2 out in front of their office down below. They run into the same thing with the DMV with all the driver's license and stuff, that they often don't have a place to park. So we're going to add 2 there as well.
Especially if you go to lunch and you come back and then there's no.
Right. Yep. So we do have the signs ordered for that in the brackets, because that is concrete. It takes a different bracket to mount those posts to the ground, and we'll get them ladies taken care of. Blades were out blading gravel roads last week. They pretty well got through their sections, and like I said, this week they're going to focus on hauling rest of that chip seal. And just little knowledge for the public. Public Works maintains 117 miles of asphalt road, 240 miles of gravel road, and 4 miles of earth or minimum maintenance road. And currently in the Public Works Department and all the departments that we do oversee, we have 29 employees, and there are currently 4 vacancies. So we're in pretty decent shape, but we could use a few more employees if anybody wants to apply.
Do you guys ever go to the job fairs on post?
No.
I
Taylor
went
went
to
to
one
one.
last year at the, which one was that?
South County Office Building, I was thinking. I don't remember
No, the
which
city
one it was.
building.
Yeah, for the city building.
Yeah, I don't remember what job fair it was. Seasonal, with building maintenance is full now, but we have posted flyers, and O'Reilly Waters, told Frank you should talk with Cloud County Community College in case there's any, students up there. So we do try to reach out and network when we can. But right now, I think we're a little more focused on some of the jobs that we need. So trying to find that right person with all the skills we're looking for. Just, we want to take our time and make sure we're getting someone good in, so.
Yeah, we have held some interviews for the assistant administrator position, and did elect to go ahead and pass on those, because I think it's important that we find
Get the right
person in there. And it is not an easy position to fill. It does require a lot of knowledge in a lot of different areas, so.
The road and bridge assistant supervisor position was offered last week, and then the applicant turned it down. I think he found another job, so
Yep.
lots of interviews, lots of sometimes offers that we make, but it is a process. Takes a little bit of time.
That is for sure. So. Next, I'll give a little bit of update on roadside mowing or the right-of-way mowing. Jason and his staff started mowing right-of-way on May 14th in sections 4 and 5 blacktops. Roads included Lions Creek Road, Poland Road, Jay Hill Road, and Skiddy Road. And those sections were finished last Thursday afternoon. On Friday, Unit 55 started on Section 6 blacktops, which include Davis Creek Road and Clarks Creek Road, and then moving to Section 7 and 8, which includes roads such as Humboldt and Lower McDowell. Unit 65 started on Section 3 blacktops, which includes Old 40, Milford Lake Road, and Liberty Hall Road. Then he will be moving to Sections 1 and 2, which encompasses Highway 244, Brinkley Road, Laurel Canyon area, and other residential areas, Cedar Estates, and those up in that way. And their goal is to have all the Blacktops Road by Memorial Day and cemetery areas located on gravel roads mowed out as well. Have that looking nice for the holidays. Noxious weed update. They've been doing some spraying. Mostly all the county grounds have been sprayed at least once, which includes around the buildings, parking lots, rock beds, fences, etc., for bare ground treatment. They're also working on making a second touch-up pass when weather allows them to. And they have bare grounded the shoulders on Old 77. They had a little bit of trouble with an electric pump on their sprayer, so they don't have that quite finished up. And once they get the parts for that, they'll get it completed. That is important because we do drag those rock shoulders, and if they grow up in vegetation, it makes it extremely difficult to drag it. It kind of balls up. So they have been out roadside spraying in Section 8, mostly targeting musk thistle and bindweed. And they're scheduled to keep on spraying those areas, but a lot of their spraying operations are dependent upon weather. So as we have wind and we have rain, it really holds them back on that. But they're out taking care of their business as well. A couple deals we didn't have on the agenda. May 2nd, Saturday of the month numbers, recycling participants was 23, HHW drop-offs was 3, and landfill users was 40. So people are using that pretty heavily on Saturday. Commission did request that I reach out to Riley County on that Bowler Road, McDowell Creek Road maintenance deal there. I did talk to them. They were all in favor of snow removal. If we wanted to trade out that snow removal part of it. As far as the gravel maintenance portion of it, they don't see a lot of maintenance on their section of that over there, just basically because there isn't very many residents. They have a little road groomer that they pull behind a pickup truck, drag it over there, drop it down, groom the road. They haul a little rock over there when it's necessary. So they didn't see that us taking over the gravel road maintenance of it would be that much of a benefit to them. But the snow side of things, definitely 100% they would be interested in pursuing and coming up with an agreement that they would plow all the way out to interstate on McDowell, and we would take care of that section as well for them on Bowler Road. I don't know, I guess, do we want to pursue having Betsy draft something up as far as an agreement with that? I know the gentleman handshake thing is kind of out the window, no avoid anymore, so I think you would want to have it on paper.
Yeah, I definitely think we need to have
I
something.
need to have it in writing.
Yeah, for sure, so everybody knows what we expect of each other, so.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that would be a great idea.
Well, I can get with Betsy on that and see if we can get to working up some kind of deal to draft up with them and get all parties to agree on.
But you'd still have to lay Cressy Road over there in Randall County, or I mean in Horn County.
Yeah, but that would be done with the motor grader, because we have right across the interstate, I'm drawing a blank on the name of that road there, you probably know. Goes back up in there.
Oh, Rozier?
Rozier, there you go, yeah. So we'll have a blade right there to do that, we can jump across. But those, like that Pressy, I guess it's not nearly as precedent to get the snow off of that like it is that McDowell, because a lot of people are traveling that, so. Last thing I have would be the courthouse tax credit amendment approval. We did fill out an application for the second phase of the courthouse project, and that was approved, so that we'll get the tax credit on that. That second phase can now officially start. I did let the contractor know that they can begin that, and it sounded like they were gonna get started on that right away, so.
Well, it looks good what they've done so far.
Yeah,
it
it
does.
does.
Yeah, it's gonna be a whole different looking place when that's
I
done,
know.
so.
They were up there working Saturday when we went to that armed forces.
Oh, were they?
Yeah,
They were way up there.
way up there,
Well, it was really pretty. A little windy, but
Yeah,
yeah. I think for me, that, the retaining wall there along 8th Street, that's probably the one I'm looking forward to most, because I don't know, how many people actually look at that and pay attention to it, but it is in really, really bad shape. There's a lot of tuck point missing, a lot of broken stone and stuff, so that will really look nice when it's
yeah,
done.
well.
and you don't want to have it like the other side of 8th Street,
That looks really, they put plants in there now. It looks good.
I did see that,
I do have a question.
Okay.
Were you able to get with the city, on your, citywide cleanup?
I did, yes. I have a meeting with them Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Yep.
Because Joshua contacted me.
Yep.
He wasn't sure who the contact was, and I said it was you.
I had actually tried to reach out to them off of the email I think Teresa sent me, but then in between that time, email addresses had changed for
Yeah,
the
they went
city,
to
and so,
.gov.
yeah, we
Yeah,
were,
all of a sudden everything started popping back.
right, so I was kind of in that phase that I got with Kayla, and I'm like, hey, I can't even get an email out to these folks, Oh, well, I think they've changed, and they finally did get, not finally, but they did get me the email addresses, but Josh had got a hold of me, so yes, we do have a meeting at 10 o'clock on Wednesday to kind of discuss the details of that, because as I mentioned to him, it's going to be very important that we involve Hams in this discussion, because Hams only keeps so many trailers on site down there. And if there's going to be a huge influx of stuff coming into that facility, we need to be preparing for it with Hams as well,
Mhm.
so.
And isn't that in August?
Yeah,
Well,
that's-
they haven't set a date or anything, but I think we're gonna talk about it tonight at the
Okay.
joint meeting, but I don't think anything's really been set until we,
Yep.
But I think it'll be good, for the whole county
Oh,
and,
definitely.
and then, I know, we don't do tires,
Mhm.
but weren't you gonna look at the,
Well,
a grant for that?
yeah, and I haven't gotten anywhere on
Well, apparently Walmart takes them for $2 a piece. So I don't know if maybe we can, during the negotiations of getting this done, partner with Walmart and say, hey, we're wanting to do this big thing, would you like to join? And maybe they'll be prepared and maybe people can take tires to
Take some tires
Walmart.
to them. What are they asking?
I know you had asked me as well for some tire information, so there's lots of KDH rules that we would have to be in compliance with if we ever wanted to go down that route. So I have that information, but I think for August, that might sound like a good starting point to see. Because even if we were to host them or hold them at our facility, there's a certain number that you can only have at a time. Because if KDH ever popped up and we had too many, then we could get fined and get in trouble for that. So I think that's a good place to start. And then maybe if we just expand on that for future or
Yeah.
something like that. I think Riley County Riley County accepts tires. I just saw that on their website. So we just kind of encourage if we get a phone call to check tire places around here, or we'll tell them they can go to Riley. But If we ever wanted to get in that spot of taking tires and accepting, there's just lots to go through to KDHE first. Not that we can't ever, but if that is something we would be interested in.
Well, I think it's important, people just throwing tires in the ditches.
Yeah.
Mhm. They do, KDHE does have a, what is it called? That one's different. They have a little program that if we do find a tire like in a ditch on the side of the road and our staff are called out to pick up the tire, we can go and have it disposed of properly at a certain facility that accepts them. And then we can send the invoice of the fee that it costs us to dispose of the tire. We can send that to KDHE for reimbursement. So they do have that program, but our equipment traveling to and from the staff hours, taking those tires to whatever approved facility would not be able to be reimbursed. So it's kind of one of those things you just have to look at where we could go if it'd be worth our time. But we kind of have to have it all documented, take pictures that we found the tire on the side of the road. Because he said other places have tried to just say, we found all of these tires on the side of the road. And so people take advantage of the program.
that's where-
But
Cameras in your trucks would.
yes,
come in handy.
yeah, that wouldn't be an issue, yeah, because we could pinpoint where we picked it up. But they do have that program where just the fee on wherever we would have to pay to dispose of the tire, we could send that invoice to KDHE to request for reimbursement on that. So I'm gonna jinx it now. We haven't really had a lot of calls on those lately. But if we do start to see an influx of that, we can look at that program and see if that'd be a benefit to us.
You might check with Morris County. I know they have somebody come in and pick up their tires. They pay for it, but I don't know who it is. They come up with a trailer and come pick them up.
Yeah,
Well, there's so much recycling going on now. They use tires for different things.
Yeah.
Grind them up.
Yeah, playgrounds.
yeah, there's, I don't say lots of options, but there are options if we ever wanted to go that route. But I have at least some good information to start with if we ever wanted to look at those.
Anything else?
That's all that we have.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, again, Kaylin, too, for the agenda. That's nice to
Yeah.
go right down there and
Okay, good.
just mark it off there. That, yeah.
Yeah, we're hoping that's gonna work, but yeah, we'll just keep doing that.
Make any adjustments as
Update it,
they're
yeah.
needed.
Yeah. Go with the flow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're all for you. Oh, not too bad. Your turn.
Since Charles is here, do you want to amend the agenda and let him go?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Mine's not too exciting either, so.
I make a motion that we go into the Board of Health.
I'll second.
Then moving and seconded to open up the meeting as a public board of health. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
So my name is Charles Martinez. I'm the director at the Geary County Health Department. This month, we had a couple things going on. So with KDHE, they lost a lot of federal funding. And so their staff was cut significantly. That's going to impact us in many different areas, from sending lab or tests to their lab, to technical assistance. We're still going to be able to function. It's just going to be slower and more painful process, but we'll be able to make it work. For our clinic, I talked with Trish this week about it. We had one person they called about they weren't able to get their vaccine there at the health department. We're short nursing staff. We've got one coming back from FMLA soon, but we don't have a nurse who can see patients throughout the day. We've managed to take our WIC coordinator, who's an RN, and we have her working Tuesdays and Thursdays for 1 hour. We canceled the appointments we could, and shifted her to the clinic, but we're not able to pull any more hours from WIC to go to the clinic and stay in compliance with the state. So those people that do need vaccines right away, we get them into Kanza and they're taken care of there.
Thank you for doing that. He had tried 2 Mondays in a row, he said, so I don't know what all happened there. I mean, I told him why we couldn't do it that one Monday. He said, well, I tried the Monday before, and he said he couldn't get in.
Yeah, he was missing us by a day, and I'm not sure why he wasn't able to go to Kanza, because that's what we've been pushing for
Yeah,
everyone. We've been calling over there.
yeah, I don't know why the person, because he said when he called, he said that he didn't know, they said, well, we don't, he said, I just want you to know he doesn't know when that person's coming back, and I said, well, they had a death in the family, you know, and so, but I would reach out to you, but thank you for taking care of that.
And I mean, I'm excited to get her back. I talked to her
She doing all right?
Friday. Yeah, she's hanging in there. No matter what, it's gonna be rough. And all the staff misses her, so. For our disease surveillance, measles, I'm very excited about this because it hasn't made it to Geary County. And at the rate it's moving, it's slowing down enough where we may not be impacted for probably a year. Now, that's just one possibility. But we're doing pretty good. Even with Kansas, we've got 56 cases. You see other states, it's flaring up real bad. So Kansas is hanging in there. We're prepared if once it does get to Geary, we're ready to handle it. Our vaccination rate's climbing, so I see us getting over the threshold for herd immunity before it actually gets here. For acute respiratory illnesses, and this is the people that are seen in the ER, so this is where we get that data. That went up a little bit, and more of those were because of allergies. They went in having issues breathing, and so most of those were allergies that were coming in.
Well, I talked to somebody yesterday. I stopped by the house and he and his wife had it, and it took 3 weeks to get over it.
That is rough.
Oh, he said for 1 week for sure, they couldn't even get out of bed. So,
I hope they're getting better.
yeah, he said they're over it now, but he said, boy, you don't want to get it.
For RSV, we haven't got a case since March, so we're doing pretty good. COVID, we still haven't had one since March. At the ER, I'm sure people do have it around here. It's just 1s and 2s, and it's not bad enough where they're showing up to get treated. Influenza, it went up a little bit, but that's like 2 patients that went in and they tested positive for influenza. So that's right where we would expect it to be, near 0. GI, so this one, for some reason last month, it skyrocketed. It was way past what we were expecting. Something was just going around, but it's dropped back down. We weren't able to identify what it was because it went so quickly. But it's gone now, and it wasn't severe. It was just people were showing up with issues, and but it's all taken care of now. For our sensitive disease report, the 2 big ones we've got, which our numbers are actually really good on it, was gonorrhea and chlamydia. I'd like to get those to, below 2 per month. But I can't be mad at 4 cases when last year we were at like 15 cases a month. Our WIC appointments, those are holding steady. We've got one training coming up with, it's for our new biller. She's going to be working with another health department to train up on our system We share the same system, but just to, improve our billing system. Our partners, we worked with a lot of people this last month. It's with the Wildcat region, the Healthcare Coalition, Delivering Change. We are actually working on the STIs with Delivering Change and Stormont Vale. Kanza, we've been working pretty close since our nurse has been out. And Riley County and Pop County's health departments. For our admin updates, we hired a new clerk for the front desk, and we promoted our other clerk to the biller position. But we're still looking for a dietitian and an RN. I'm going to talk with Crystal today about that to see. So I was talking with other dietitians that we had in the past and from other health departments to find out what the reason might be. And they're saying it might be pay. So I was going to talk with Crystal, see if we can get the dietitian position in another pay study to find out if maybe it went up in the region, and that's why we can't compete. For facility updates, it's just general maintenance. They moved some furniture and did some painting where we had soap dispensers moved, so. Other than that, things are going pretty good there. Even with the KDHE stuff, we're still gonna be good. It just makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be all around for that,
Yeah.
with the funding.
But do you have any questions for me?
no. I plan to get a hold of you possibly tomorrow if you're around.
I'll be ready.
Having to do with that signature,
Yes. Do you have a laptop you'll be able to bring with you? Okay. I was trying to figure out how to do it from my computer.
I'll bring mine in.
Okay, that'll make it really easy.
I'm struggling with it.
I don't know why they changed the system we were using to this. The whole state's having issues with it. It was that signature.
Oh, the electronic signature?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're asking for a digital one now, even though they have the paper copy.
oh, is it Adobe? Is it on Adobe? 'Cause I can never figure
I
that
don't
one.
remember. But anyway,
Yeah, we'll get it taken care of.
because I got an email and I didn't really trust it.
Mhm.
And so I had Charles look into it. He verified it with KDHE. So,
All right,
so
well,
other than that, yeah, I'll get a hold of you sometime tomorrow.
That works.
Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. So moving second to close the meeting as the Public Board of Health. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Charles.
Hey, thank you.
Bye.
Awesome.
Okay. Now we'll have a discussion about CBB. The board itself. So, well, it's in the minutes, I know, but Betsy commented that members of the board have to be somehow tied in with tourism. And so I don't know, so here's the list of the current board members we have right now. Henry Petty, Cecil Alaska, Wendy Jensen, Pat Silvosky, Ellen Thiefel, Megan
Who?
Roche,
I didn't hear that name.
Ellen Thiefel.
I don't know who she is.
I don't either because she hadn't been to a meeting since last
How do
August.
you spell her last name?
ThyFault.
Okay.
So Megan Roosh, Jason Kalman, Jordan McCann, Ty Aronson, he resigned. And of course Raquel isn't there because now she's the director. So, Ellen hasn't been there. So she said that we typically have two open. Technically, we have 2 open spots for our current board of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. And so bylaws state such that, for as far as attendance, if you miss 3 in a row, you're off the board. But Betsy suggested that the board recommend removing that person to the commission. And then we can remove them and try and find people to fill in. So that is a list of current members. That doesn't
You said they
include
had to be
me.
affiliated with,
That's what Betsy says.
Well, it says on here, a majority of which shall be representative of businesses coming within the terms of this act. So when I read that, the terms of the act are, one, any person engaged in the business of renting, leasing, letting living quarters, sleeping accommodations, rooms, or part thereof in connection with any motel, hotel, or tourist court. But then it also talks about convention and tourism promotion. So it talks about, consists of group tours, pleasure travelers, association meetings and conventions, trade shows, and corporate meetings and travel. So does that mean both of those, like, I know that's why I was kind of shocked you wanted to do this without Betsy, because,
Yeah.
I think that, like, the Historical Society, they do group tours. So, you know, I know that Heather was on there, but, she resigned from there, but I know that Pat Sawalski, who does tours out at the, Milford Center, you know, that's, you know, bringing people into the community. So is that considered part of the majority of?
So I'll read you this. Representation, the convention board shall consist of 10 travel and industry representatives. Mandy sent me this. Industry representatives follows. A, owners, operators, or employees of persons engaged in the lodging industry within the county, and representatives from agencies or organizations actively engaged in promoting tourism. Only one member from an agency, organization, or business shall be considered for the board. B, when possible, no less than 4 of the board shall be representative of the owners or operators engaged in the lodging industry. C, the Board of County Commissioners has final approval or disapproval of all proposed members. Terms, to me, because this was one of my concerns, because I thought years ago, we used to have staggered terms, and I thought we went to every year, first of January, or first of the year. To maintain continuity of experienced membership, each member shall serve for a term of 1 year with reappointment privileges. Reappointment privileges shall be defined as sitting committee members being given preferential consideration for serving an additional term. So with that,
Where's that from? Because
that's in their bylaws.
oh,
It's specific to the advisory board, and it was redone when we restructured
yeah.
the board.
No, I'm talking about when it talks about the, members of the board and what they can be involved in.
I think that was part of, and I don't know, you're right.
'Cause I'm just reading.
Betsy would be the one to answer some.
I know, that's why I
questions.
said, well, I don't know why we're putting this on here, because Betsy wouldn't.
Well, I
be
kind of
here.
wanted to give you an idea.
Yeah, no, I know.
Who is currently on the board?
So, okay, Jason and,
Wendy.
Wendy and Megan, because
Megan.
Megan has a
Airbnb.
Airbnbs.
Mhm.
Those 3 are for sure in the hotel business. But is there nobody from Acorns?
Not to my knowledge
Okay.
on here,
Okay.
on this list. But talking to Raquel, Acorns is a possibility, and then the new owners of,
Thunderbird.
well, that was, no, I didn't mention that one, of Soneska.
Oh, okay.
So she thinks there's possibilities to fill that,
Mhm.
you know. But I just kind of wanted to
But I
give
mean,
an
isn't,
update.
even like Courtney's mom, would she be interested in sending, is she still like the camp person out there?
She retired.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just food for thought. You can think about it, and we'll ask Betsy a little bit more about it. And maybe at the same time, have Raquel come in and talk to us. But I thought it was.
I know they want to look, make it less, decrease the numbers on it, but I mean, it does say in there that if you have a board, it shall be 10 members.
And that's because
They
it's a
wanted 10
county
because,
Yeah.
control.
they wanted 10 because they couldn't get members to,
No, they wanted less.
They wanted less.
They
yeah,
wanted-
but I said they wanted to lessen it because the fact they can't get
Right.
a majority. So if you get more people now that's got more interest, maybe they should have a problem keeping 10 on there. If that's statutorily, that's what we have to
And
have.
of course, that doesn't include me because I'm not a voting,
No.
I'm just a representative. So.
Yeah.
So,
And, and I think if we do everything we can to try to get hoteliers and people involved in that, and we can't, I think that,
there's gotta be a stipulation.
yeah, I was gonna say, I think that if
Exception.
we show that, okay, we're trying to get all these people here, but we can't, let's get, at least we have the 10-member board.
So, what's the agenda look like
I
next
was
week?
just gonna tell you, next week's agenda is full because, Bill Mickey Dean's coming in, Bucatey's coming in. It's a public hearing for NRP, Betsy put on. Then we're breaking for lunch, we have a department head meeting, then we're breaking for lunch, and then in the afternoon, we have that disaster plan.
Yeah.
Talk or whatever it is. So it's, unless you wanna talk about it in your review, then
Yeah,
it's.
No, I think it
I
needs to
think
be a
we'll wait.
discussion.
yeah.
But could we give her guidance on if she wants to go ahead and try to get those people to fill those slots and, and then, get them at least going, because, unless we're gonna,
You can reach out to them and
yeah.
see if there's interest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you let her know about Keith Henry too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So Gary is coming tonight for Everbridge.
Yes, I'll remind him.
Oh, so, maybe they'll discuss this tonight at the joint meeting, but I had time to talk to Colonel Nunziato afterwards also. And I was just curious, I said, I've never asked you this, but the garrison stays behind with all these deployments, right? Because you gotta take care of the post, you still got somebody. He goes, yeah. And he goes, we'll have spouses and families that'll stay. We'll lose some, but we still have to maintain. But he said, truth be told, there'll probably still be 7,000 here. That was a rough guess on his part, but I know that school district was gonna talk about the impact of the deployment, but
Well,
I don't think he's gonna be here. I said, well, you're probably gonna be changed out by the time,
maybe.
and he said, yeah, more than likely.
Mhm. I was approached by Tyler Mason, with Senator
Marshall.
Marshall's office, and so we were just chatting because they had brought up things about, maybe getting with the school district and doing, just an informational thing about, this is what happens when, families leave for a short time and they're not counted in the census, that, because they do get monies based on funding, based on the population, are the resources that they might have to give up, are they gonna be there when the troops come back? And so that's what we're gonna talk about tonight. Not only that, that would affect the school district, but maybe even doing a campaign of like, it's how important it is to shop local, especially at the smaller businesses, while the troops are gone. Because anytime you would take a portion of your population out of the community is gonna affect, taxes and businesses. And so maybe just having a generalization, because I don't think people realize how much of an impact that is.
Well, and the sales tax helping us out on budgeting.
Yes, and so that's what, I had talked to Christy about it, so that's why she's putting that on there, but I also invited, Rob Wilson to come, and then Jordan, I don't know if she's gonna be able to come, but, tonight, but, just so we can have a generalized discussion of maybe we should do something prior to everybody leaving, to say, hey, this is what's going on and this is why we would like for you to stay. And then I think they invited, Post also to talk about the resources that are still gonna be available to the troops, and their families while everybody's deployed. So,
And when are they leaving? October?
some people are starting to leave this summer and then
Oh.
October, and then Ben Beasler, said that the majority of everybody will be gone in the summer. That's the largest chunk of
Oh.
summer of 2026,
Six.
Oh, okay.
for a couple months. That'll be like everybody, and then people start coming back.
Coming back.
So that might be good for the school district, because then it'd be the end of school year and the beginning of the school year, so.
Do you have minutes?
Yeah,
Oh, we got
there's
change
those
orders, that's
two
right.
change orders. I told them that, they said that was good.
I make a motion, we accept the change orders.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the change orders. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
After the minutes from the 12th of May. I had, when I was going through Trish's commission review and update, I have Counselor Edwards Betsy. So I'll fix that. And, I didn't proofread it very well. And then on Keith's, I have Jason Lankus coming to the meeting twice. He really wanted to come. Then when we were talking about the EMS deal, Keith wants me to add, Chairman Asher agreed to approve the agreement today with the flexibility to make.
Addendums. I didn't spell it
What
right.
is this? You didn't spell that right. Goodness. Addendums in regards to CIP in the future. Addendums. So I'll add that. Couple grammatical things, and I gotta have Alan leaving the meeting. I didn't have that. So that's all I got for the 12.
Motion for approval.
I so moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from last meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Okay.
Are we done? Or do you wanna wait, see if anybody shows up?
I doubt anybody is.
I know. Or they'd have been here.
Yeah, yeah, the ones we,
Yeah.
I'll give it one more minute. Okay, we're adjourned.